morning. My name is Jamie Weinberger. We're super excited to have you guys here today. I'm joined by whom you just saw on the keynote, Emily Parsons, and we're really here to walk you through the next layer of motive analytics. Show of hands, who was in the keynote, excited about what you saw? Okay, woo. Yeah. So we are here to really take it to the next level for you. We're here to talk about how we can transform data into decisions that drive real outcomes for your fleet. And I am going to ask for some participation. First and foremost, there is a QR code here on the screen. This is your opportunity to be a part of the conversation. So we know questions come up when we're speaking. We only have 45 minutes together today, so scan that QR code. There is a Q&A section, so you can leave questions either anonymously or you can actually leave your information if you'd like us to follow up with you. And then at the end of our presentation today, there will be a question for you guys to engage and for us to hear from you. I'll leave that up for just a few more seconds. All right, so here's how we're going to spend our time today. We're going to start by really digging into maybe current state reality, which is day-to-day pain of managing data with legacy tools that many of you either are using today or used previously to shifting to Motive. We'll talk about how Motive Analytics gives you really the flexible, powerful tools to drive decisions and unlock insights. After that, Emily's actually going to do a live demo, so assuming the Wi-Fi is great. We will have the opportunity to see it a layer deeper than you saw this morning. We actually have a customer here that uses Motive Analytics that will come up on stage to share about his experience. And then, of course, at the end, have opportunities for you to leave feedback, learn more, ask questions. So let's dive in. Okay, I need some participation. So raise your hand if you are somebody that maybe has to create a report or enter numbers into spreadsheets in your current life today. Okay, some faster than others. Okay, hands down. Now, how many of you feel like maybe that takes a little more time than actually driving real decisions or unlocking insights and solving a real fleet problem? I saw one hand in the back. Okay. All right, so maybe this is what you feel like when you're tasked with a simple question. Like, how many miles did we drive this week? And all of a sudden, you're on this mission. You have 5 exports, 3 filters, a highlighter, maybe even a prayer to answer that specific question. Or maybe you're like this, and you're convinced that spreadsheets actually save you time, not realizing that it costs you emotionally draining physical pain, like you see here. We hear a lot, Excel, 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 and Excel is great. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem, it's me. Until it isn't. And fleet managers should not have to moonlight as data scientists in order to answer basic questions. And I think all of us have been there, right? So we've all lived in spreadsheets. Many of your hands shot up very quickly, battling version control, having to stay up late and build reports or have these excessive email chains trying to answer a simple question: what is going on in my fleet? And you're not alone. We hear it all the time. So I'm a sales engineer, and I'm on calls with people all day long telling us I have to download and create 5 spreadsheets to answer one simple question. Or this takes me more time than actually aligning to strategic initiatives. And you're not alone. So just to really layer on the pain here, 33% of fleet managers report that they still are relying on manual spreadsheets to answer questions. And over 50% of them feel that this is taking away from their ability to actually solve real problems. Or maybe you're like Alex, who is an actual Motive customer that has a team of individuals who he had to hire in order to just input numbers into a spreadsheet. That's actually just moving numbers, not actually acting on them. And as a result of that, all of these things get deprioritized. So forget driver coaching and effectiveness, or improving the driver experience, or preventative maintenance planning, cross-department collaboration. All of those things are deprioritized when you are stuck in the weeds. And did anybody in here go into fleet management hoping that you could create a pivot table? No? Okay. So that's why we built Motive Analytics, to shift your time from reporting the past to shaping the future. Today we're going to show you what this looks like in action and how we're going to replace copy-paste chaos, like we just saw, to a platform that gives you answers in moments, not hours. This is a self-serve reporting platform in our fully integrated platform here at Motive. And unlike some of the legacy providers you see there on the right, this is intended to erase some of those issues and help those like you who want real insights, not just raw data. All right, I'm going to shift it to you.
Thank you, Jamie. I think we've all heard and understand these pain points, and this is really just scraping the surface of how many times we've heard time and time again from customers that they're struggling to do something that sounds so simple, but it takes forever to get done. So let's get to the fun part here. Diving into the solution, we all just saw that breakdown of Motive Analytics, and you got a good look at that during this morning's session. We're super excited to take it a step further here today and get into a real-life demo. Really the key takeaway here is that we don't want you having to jump around between tools. We understand if there's processes that, if you need to use a BI tool here or something else there, we totally support that. But with those easy questions that you want to get answered, how can you do it faster and in real time? So I think first and foremost, let's revisit some of the things that we talked about earlier today in our session, get a little refresher there, and then we'll get into the fun of actually doing a live demo. So as a reminder, Motive Analytics is built to make data easy for everyone. We're not building things where you need to learn SQL or need to learn an entirely new platform. The entire idea here is that you're able to get the insights you need easily and on your own terms. But that data alone isn't enough. It's really critical that you're able to connect the pieces across the platform to take that data and make sure that it's leading to action. With Motive Analytics, you can zero in really quickly to be able to drill down across, for example, cell phone events, but really any type of data that you have within your events, being able to look at idling time by drivers or look at different maintenance events by vehicle type. The entire idea and process is the same. How can you get that information easily without having to pull it into 10 other tools? And finally, here's where the magic of AI comes in. You can ask something like, show me safety events in San Francisco, and easily get a detailed report showing you all of those events. No need to dive in or try and tweak even further. You have that information where you can continue the conversation and drill down and actually edit the report in real time. And then once you have it in the state that you like it to be in, you can actually pin it to a dashboard, share it with the rest of your team, and really kick off that further conversation with collaboration there. All right, on to the demo. All right, so what we're seeing here is the Motive Analytics platform. And I would like to, I think a lot of times you can think of this as really your 3-minute coffee break. Where are you getting information that you need to look at and get the pulse on right away? In comparison to having to sift into each of these static reports, what's that top line? Is there anything when I'm taking that sip of my coffee that I need to be looking at first and foremost? But from here, you have a few different options. So you have your key KPIs, but we also have a few different ways that you can explore your data further. We have actionable reports, meaning all of the different assets that we've created and that your teams are creating, where you have that library of all of the information and all of the reports that have been created for your teams. We already have about 60 or 70 reports in there, and we're continuing to build and expand our data model surface area so that you can have more data to look at there. The second piece is dashboards, where all those reports come together. We're talking about all of those cross-platform insights and how we can get them into one single unified view. That's where really all of that becomes one. We've heard success with customers wanting to have that on their site or having it on a big screen within their warehouse as a motivating feature. I want this dashboard because I want my fleet to see how we're performing and have that be that reinforcement tool, to show the positive, show where there's opportunities, but also show how we're performing and provide some gamification there too. Let's dive into a dashboard to get you that full picture. So in this example, I just clicked on a fleet performance dashboard. And what we're looking at here is, granted, our internal motive data, so you're not going to see any crazy spikes in anything. This is just our product team driving around, so hopefully we're driving pretty safe. But the idea here is that you can customize this in a world of different ways, whether that's choosing to configure different tabs based on product area. Maybe you want to have a tab on executive overview and then drill down into specific groups or regions so that you have a really clear structure of how you're looking at the reports within this dashboard. The whole idea is we're just really giving you the building blocks. Build whatever you see fit for your operations. I think the future here is no longer you having to fit in the box of our static reports. We're completely expanding that to have all of that flexibility. Within this view, you're first and foremost going to see a ton of different visualization options. So we have those KPIs where you can get that quick glimpse, how am I trending? But as you dive down, this dashboard in itself has a ton of different ways that you can be looking at your data. So for example, if I zoom in over here and we look at this safety events by type report, you can see that there's a ton of different event types for our data. And it's a very pretty looking stacked column chart. But what does that actually mean? I can easily click and filter out different events if I want to get a true narrative behind the scenes. If I want to easily drill down into a specific event, for example, if we continue on that theme of cell phone safety events, I can actually see the exact trends of my weekly cell phone safety events in 3 clicks. And what's great here is maybe this is what all you need and you just need to get this information and share it with the right teams, but it's so helpful to get the context behind what's happening on screen. So for example, I'm seeing, hey, 80% or 80 cell phone safety events for our team seems a little high for that end of February timeframe. Let's dig in a little bit more so that I can get a focused action plan to move forward here. I'm going to right click and I can easily drill down on this in a world of different ways. Maybe I want to understand which vehicles this is happening in more, where I can have the highest risk, or the group where I want to actually be able to talk to the group manager and understand where we can coach better. Or maybe I want to filter specifically down to the drivers by full name so I can go bully my colleagues that are incurring cell phone events. Just kidding, given this is internal data. But this is like exactly what you can get from here. Really a clear view and an action plan from a very colorful stacked bar chart that's giving you a lot of information, but being able to peel back those layers to now have the exact answer you're looking for to now move forward. I know who I need to talk to, or I know where I need to go next to mitigate this and make sure that our trend is not going upwards in the future. There's a ton that you can do in here. But let's kind of follow this flow a little bit more. Maybe we're still a little concerned that cell phone events were getting higher and we want to be able to reduce those even further. Let's hop over and create our own report. So I'm going to go back to our homepage and I'm going to click Create Report. And from here, I'm actually able to easily open up this blank slate. What you'll see here is no SQL, no coding, nothing that's, I come from a business background, I'm not a data analyst, nothing that's gonna scare you. Really the idea here is how can we make this as easy and as intuitive as possible for you to be able to build your own reports. The Motive team is here to help. We're not just giving you this tool and sending you out and saying good luck. Our job is done. This is a collaboration. We want all the reports that you start creating. It's going to ultimately help us build better products and build more reports for the collective. What we have here is we have a sidebar that's looking at all of the different keywords that are available for you to start building on. And you can tell this is a pretty long list, but it's only the beginning. This is going to be continuing to grow. As you saw, a lot of new products today. Every new product will be introducing that data into this platform so that you can continue to get the full scope of all of your analysis in one place. At the top, you'll see a search bar. It's super easy. We're basically going to just put a couple keywords in, hit go, and our AI will ultimately understand the keywords you're putting and try and skip a few steps to suggest what type of report you want to see. So let's see it in action. We were talking about cell phone safety events, saw some concerning numbers about some of our event numbers weekly trending upwards or having some pretty significant spikes. So I know I want to look at safety events. And if I dive in further here, I can type safety, and it's going to start to give me an idea of what events are even possible for me to pull from. The list is pretty long. I want to understand where these safety events are happening, because I think understanding at a region level or a group level, I can start to create an action plan to coach with those specific team members. So let's go ahead and select safety event latitude and safety event longitude. Pretty self-explanatory. We got to get this on a map. I'm also just going to select safety events because we want to see the total of those. And I want to see the safety event type, but I want to see the max safety event type. And what I mean by that is when you're thinking of each latitude and longitude, if for whatever reason, doesn't happen that often, but if an event happens at the same exact latitude and longitude, show us the one that's happened more severely or more recently. So I've got 4 keywords in here. Pretty simple, I'm gonna hit go. And you'll notice that within this tool, the speed of being able to pull this report together is incredibly fast. What's great here is I didn't say create a map. I didn't say map this in this certain way. The AI has understood that I want latitude and longitude, and it's like, okay, you probably want to see exactly where these are happening on the screen. But what's great here, we've got a lot of red dots, right? What's that actually telling us? How can we understand this data further? First and foremost, this is just the starting point. You can now take this and change this report visualization to the dozens of different report types that we have. Whether this isn't actually how you wanted to see your data and you want it genuinely just in a table, maybe you want to see this in a pivot table or an area chart or a scatter plot. There's a ton of flexibility in terms of how you actually want to visualize this so that it's most meaningful to your audience. In this case, we'll stick with the heat map. I think it's doing a great job, but I want to get a little bit more granularity. And I know I mentioned that I wanted to see event type. Right now, we're just seeing all safety events. So you'll see in my x-axis and y-axis, that all looks good. We're looking at safety events with a latitude and longitude. But there's something that isn't visualized yet, and that's that safety event type. So if I drag that in and just say, hey, take this report, slice it by color, and hit apply, it's actually going to go through all of those different events and make sure that they're categorized appropriately so that you can see the full picture in each area of what event was happening the most. And so within this flow, we can see, speeding is clearly a problem, but you can do the exact same filtering and drilling down that I showed on the stacked column chart to kind of peel away all of these different colors once again and get to that focused answer that you're looking for. So in this example, we're gonna continue on that cell phone route, and I can just easily double click on cell phone events, filters everything off the map except for cell phone events. So now I have a very clear view of exactly where within my entire operations as the Motive product team, where all of my teammates are using their cell phone while driving. This is awesome. But so let's dive even further. We like this report. This makes a ton of sense to us. I'm going to rename this to mapped cell phone safety events. You can probably think of a lot more creative name than what I'm thinking of, but we're just keep it straight to the point. I love this report. I want to have this on my dashboard, and so I'm going to pin it actually with all of the content because there could be future use cases where I want to drill down on close following or near collisions or hard braking. So I want it at this view, but you could also have just filtered this down to just cell phone events if that's something that you're trying to keep a better eye on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to pin this report to my dashboard. And I'm going to pin this to this coaching effective demo dashboard that I've created. The idea here is all of this cell phone safety event data that we're analyzing, the whole goal is that we want to understand what that means in terms of coaching. how can we be more effective when it comes to the questions we're asking and how we're seeing whether there's repeat instances after your coaching to generally get that good pulse on where our operations are going. So I'm going to go ahead and save this so that I can view this in my report list view as well. This is our large view of reports, but let's hop back and let's dive into that coaching question that I had. So we have a coaching effectiveness dashboard, similar experience, things broken out very clearly by all of the different ways that you can analyze coaching data. Let's double check if we've got our report in here. I pinned it on a different dashboard. Demo dashboard. Bear with me. Here we go. There's that map cell phone events. Built it, pinned it on a dashboard for the rest of my team to view in maybe a couple of minutes. So the step further here, and I think what everyone's probably really excited about is that's all super intuitive. We can click some keywords. We can build reports. It's going to really put that data back in your hands. But I saw some just writing statements and being able to get reports that way. Let's get into the fun of AI here, right? So let's actually pull up a recent conversation that I had with AI. And so you'll notice if we'll reset this and we'll go through the flow. So this is our AI analyst or our natural language reporting that we were talking about earlier today, where instead of having to go through the flow of building something using keywords, just write a sentence and it'll do the exact same thing. So in this case, I'm going to ask to show a summary of safety events by coaching status and safety event type for 2025. Okay, cool. So in just a matter of seconds, I've gotten this answer that's showing me a pivot table that's looking at safety events by the different coaching statuses, and I can see that kind of across the board with the different cell phones, different safety events throughout. So this is something, if I like this report as is, AI gave me what I was looking for, I can easily save this, download it, pin it to the dashboard that I was just referring to. But maybe I want to drill in a little bit more. Maybe I have more questions, or I want to see this analysis in a slightly different way. Maybe we want to pull together a column chart of weekly cell phone safety events. And you'll notice it's super fast. This is something that is super important to us so that you're not typing search on something, going to grab a coffee, coming back, and still watching a wheel spin. We want this to be real time so that you can get the answers you need. Okay, cool. AI has understood my question. I've pivoted a little bit. Now I'm just trying to understand general trend of where these events are happening. But this is a lot of data, and I don't need to go back all the way a year to see what was happening in April. We were all at Vision, so we can focus on 2025 for now. So let's only look at the last 12 weeks. And you can kind of get the sense of where I'm going with this, really depending on the question, whether it's easy tweaks to a report or if you're really trying to get answers and context for something, you should be able to get that easily and get those tweaks made without having to go in and either tap the shoulder of an analyst or even build your own report within this product. You should be able to just write a sentence and have AI do it for you. And what's great here is it'll tell you exactly historically what it changed. We changed the date from the 52 weeks to 12 weeks, and now you have this tighter picture of what was happening. So what's cool here is as you're continuing to build, you can always go into edit mode of any report that AI has provided you and just keep tweaking it there. If you want to continue an analysis and kind of hop between you building your own things, AI helping you building your own things, there's a ton of flexibility in terms of how you're able to configure exactly the visualizations that you want to see to ultimately just save time. how can we cut that time and get the answers that you need as fast as possible? So I'll stop there for now. I think we could obviously go on forever in terms of just all of the different functionality. But I know we have a ton of other conversations to dive into. So hopefully this was a helpful overview of what we're seeing within Motive Analytics generally, where we're going with this product from easy to build customization, a ton of reports and dashboards out of the box already built for you by the Motive team, and the ability to search and create reports on your own using AI and natural language. And with that, I'm super excited to bring up Michael from Reliable Carriers. We're going to do a quick Q&A as one of our main beta customers. Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. It's a pleasure. It was here last year. Excited for this year. You guys put on quite the party.
Exactly. That's why we're all here. Can you start by telling us a bit about your role at Reliable Carriers and what your day-to-day looks like?
So I am a project manager at Reliable Carriers. What that entails is realistically looking at our operations, looking at everything and optimizing as much as we can. So going through working with our external partners, internal, streamlining as many processes as we can, integrations, basically getting all the data and making it useful, right?
Awesome. And I know you're a beta customer now, but thinking back to before Motive Analytics, what were some of the key frustrations and challenges that you would run into?
Excel, let's talk about it, right? How many different reports were we looking at and trying to pull these reports together, how difficult that can be. Making sense of all the data. It's difficult just looking at numbers. But when you can, put it all in one place, it's a game changer, right? So we struggle a lot with that. And time. How much time we were spending and resources just trying to get this data. So yeah, those are the two biggest struggles I definitely had with, reporting in general.
I think we all hear that in the room. Can be a pain having to get that ref error in Excel. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're using Motive Analytics today?
Yeah, certainly. So, I was able to provide this tool to my entire team. So with that, it's not just safety. It's operations, it's maintenance, it's finance, across the board. Everybody's looking to use this tool now. So from a safety aspect of it, you're no longer looking at just little aspects of this little portion. We can bring in hours of service violations, speeding, mapping these hotspots, looking at specific things like your form and manner even. Any log issues, looking at PC, personal conveyance. Anything and everything that Motive has to provide as far as data, you're pulling it in for safety. Operations, I'm able to look at the breadcrumb trails of our trucks now. Who's in what truck right now? So, previously it was, I had to wait time to get this information. I have it now. It's all at my fingertips. Maintenance is looking at things now. We're looking at speeding and correlation with that of, how many tires are we going through? And are we using the right tires? And, these little things that we're now able to really look as a big picture rather than these little parts as small pictures.
Yeah, I think that's awesome to hear. And could you walk us through some of the current workflows, like when you're, hopping on in the morning and looking at Motive, walk us through that day with Motive Analytics.
Like you said, coffee break, right? So it's no longer, let's create this report, and let me spend hours trying to combine that data, sort through it, filter, make sense of it, and then try and create, charts, tables, different, formats to present to the executive team. Now we're able to, do it now. So, yeah, the time we spend on that, we're getting right to it. So that workflow has now become, this long process is easy to do and within a matter of minutes.
That's awesome. Love to hear it. Love to hear, more time back with your team to do the things that are important and have that action plan to to go about and do them.
Certainly, certainly.
And would you be able to, elaborate on that and share maybe a recent decision that you've made or a finding that you've had with using motive analytics?
So, being able to present this to our executive teams, our directors, and they're able to now look at these tools and look at these specifics. It makes coaching easier. So everybody's talking about coaching this year. Not just from a negative aspect, but a positive aspect. More recently, we had a driver complaint. Somebody called in, and we were able to look at that footage and then also bring up all the data behind it. Sit that driver down, and then the conversation grows from there. The driver's now interested, how do I become a better driver? So now we're looking at this tool with the driver, and we're saying, hey, look at your speeding, look at your safety score, and the data's there instantly. So now we're able to present it to the driver in a good way of, hey, you are doing a good job. There is room for improvement. How do we make everything better here? So.
That's awesome. And could you tell us, what are you most excited for the next year with, getting your hands on this data?
Oh man, it's limitless, right? So I know you guys are working on getting more and more data in there. As you said, it's going to grow. The reports that you guys are already providing currently, able to tweak those, manipulate those, create my own reports, dashboards. I can create a dashboard for our safety team. They can use that dashboard, even though I'm not using it myself. I can help them with that. We can work together as far as the cross-functionality of everything is just coming together now. So
that's awesome. Love to hear that you can all speak sort of the same language instead of this BI tool and that BI tool. You can have that overarching
I'm no longer just the tech guy,
That's so great to hear. Thank you, Michael, for taking the time to chat with us. We're so excited to have Reliable Carriers here and have you, helping test this product, breaking this product, giving us all the feedback so that we can make this, the best possible experience for everyone in the room.
Yeah, it's exciting. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great. I'm going to hand it back to Jamie.
All right, so if anybody, let's see if there's any in there. So there is lots of questions, but we're going to give you guys a call to action. First and foremost, if you scanned that QR code, there's an opportunity for you to ask questions. I see a lot of similar questions around what about bringing in other data. And yeah, I'll answer that first. So when we think of motive analytics, we think of that in the middle in terms of technical expertise that you must have, right? So we have obviously our dashboards that are your day-to-day, are going to answer day-to-day operational questions that live within Motive's platform. Many of you guys probably use the static reports that exist today. And then on the flip side of that, the more technical we do have our Motive Data Bridge where you can use our APIs to connect to your own external BI tool where you can actually bring in other data sources to analyze if you really are a data scientist and you love that. And Motive Analytics is really intended to be that middle ground. So you don't really need heavy technical expertise to actually understand what's going on in your business. And so any data, as Michael said, that lives within Motive is accessible through Motive Analytics. Before I answer some other questions, it's not going to show you because it's not connected, but in the app there is a poll, and I want to ask you, if you did scan that, can you guys answer this question for us? If you didn't scan the QR code, you can just volunteer out loud. But we want to give you a moment to answer this question specifically. So what specific challenges in your current reporting process do you envision that Motive Analytics can help solve? And if you're wondering where that exists, it exists in the polls tab within that Slido QR code that you scanned. So I see limiting the amount of reports we have to create, quick reports, easy navigation, where are areas of improvement without having to actively search for them. I see a lot of reduction of manual data entry and overstaffing clerks. What groups the events are happening in. Easy navigation, easy tweaking. They're coming in so fast. Real-time fleet utilization. I can't read them all. Every time I scroll. Coaching effectiveness, getting an answer quickly. So ideally, the things we want to see, if there's specific reports that are a part of your day-to-day job that Motive Analytics could help solve, please feel free to send those. As Emily said, we love to hear from both customers and prospects alike, understanding what actual problems you have. I always say my job is to bridge the gap between where you are and where you guys are looking to go, utilizing our technology. So in the event that you didn't answer that today, but as something comes up through your day or time here at Vision that you feel would be helpful, we'd love to hear it. And 2 ways that you can learn more before we dive into some additional questions. One, there is a demo booth outside in the demo booth area. It's labeled Analytics. Myself and another gal will be there the rest of today and tomorrow. If you'd like to come by and ask a more targeted question live, or if you'd like to see something or double click into something that Emily showed you, happy to walk you through that. And then how do you get access? That's what a lot of people want to know. So if you are super interested, which we know all of you are, this QR code is going to bring you to a survey. Who doesn't love a survey? Okay. And then you can actually add your name and contact information directly in there if you want to be considered for an early interest list. Doesn't guarantee anything, but it definitely adds you guys to us, our radar, knowing that you guys are super interested. Okay, Emily, I'm going to give you some. First, I'm going to open it up to questions, and then I'm going to pull some of these. Does anyone have a live question that they didn't submit that they'd like to ask? All right, here's some questions. Are the parameters and default settings set by AI on the data points y'all collected?
That's a great question. So I'm assuming we're talking about the parameters within the side panel when I was building reports. And what I mean, those are set by our team. So what's great is we completely understand what terminology and language makes the most sense for all of us within the physical operations. And actually, as you click on each of those parameters, there's a description and synonyms included. So the whole goal is that one, they're really self-explanatory, but then two, they're set in a way where you're able to get confidence that you're choosing the right, checkbox and keyword that you're bringing into that search and that report creation. The second piece of that is, yes, you can create some of your own parameters by using formulas. That's sort of next level AI analytics, but we can totally talk about that at the booth, not to put Jamie on the spot.
Awesome. I hope we answered that question in entirety. Yeah? Another question, as you expand Motive Analytics to more users at an organization, is there a way to promote or certify reports made by certain users?
Great question. Yes, I think there's 2 ways that we're looking into this. The first is pretty standard, just having tags so that you can clearly, mark specific reports, whether it's, hey, all of these reports that are tagged, Q4 2024, that's all of our reports that we're prepping for leadership that we want to share there. Or we're marking these with a tag that says verified, because those are ones that your data analyst has created versus, other folks in the tool just playing around. So that's probably the best solution there, to be able to set different tags and categorize each report in the way that's most meaningful to you. We also have the ability to favorite or star certain things. So there's a lot of functionality in terms of how you're configuring your reports and setting what parameters each one has. The last thing is you can actually set reports to be verified. So there's a lot of ways that you can really clearly delineate what type of report you're looking at before you're even looking at it. The whole goal is let's eliminate that sifting through data as much as possible and get you that information up front.
Do we have time for one more? One more. Okay. Can you download the raw data from the AI tool to complement the summarized data?
Yes. Everything that we were showing within there from a visualization standpoint is still just truly built out of a table. And so if you toggled between that visualization and a table, you'd be able to download that into Excel, to do further manipulation or analysis. You can also download it as a PDF if you want to keep that visualization and just plug and play that right into a spreadsheet or into a slide deck that you're presenting.
Awesome. If we didn't get to your question, I see there's a handful coming in. Please visit us out there. Happy to talk through it with you. But otherwise, thank you guys for coming. Enjoy the rest of your time at Vision.
Yeah, thank you.